Hello. You're listening to What the Fuck Do We Know? We've been away for a while because one of us is a weakling and the other one had to accommodate for the weaknesses that nature has given one of them. We're not going to say one of us. We're not going to say who it is, who is weaker. But just, I think from listening to the voices, you can tell who is a man and who is a beta cock in this.
And who lacks empathy and who lacks any...
Oh, I think that from listening to previous episodes, it's very clear who lacks empathy.
And now it's not that clear.
No, it is still clear. I'm calling it as it is. It doesn't mean I don't like empathy. I'm just saying the truth. And I'm sorry.
Facts. Beta cock, it's a fact.
Prove me wrong, please. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Just prove me wrong.
You know, you can't prove something that doesn't exist, that it doesn't exist.
Prove me wrong.
It's impossible.
Okay,
technically.
So there we go. It's impossible to prove
prove me that unicorns don't exist. Prove me.
Hey, it's impossible to prove that you are not a beta cock. Ergo, you are.
We are not talking about me. We are talking about one of us.
Oh, well, I think the, what do they call it? What? We've spilled the beans. It is you. It is very much you.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'll take responsibility because I had a very serious, grave condition.
You did not.
I did. I haven't even recovered fully.
What is the definition of grave?
Grave, something that causes you a lot of grievance.
And who was grieving?
You were, and then me.
I wasn't grieving. I was concerned. And you were
before
pessimistic.
You called me a beta cock or after? Or this is how you process your concerns.
No, I was concerned, and then
Oh, you concentrated all of that in this phrase.
No, I was concerned, and as correct as I am most of the time, you were not that badly weakened by nature. So, actor. Anyway, we're back with a vengeance of today's topic. We're not afraid to get cancelled. We're gonna say it like it is, shoot from the whatever, right from the belt or whatever, and screw the woke media.
Just like that.
Right. We're here to
alternative media.
Oh,
challenge the narrative.
Oh my God. So I was listening to someone today, and she was talking about how she tries to correct her family members who are like listening to Trump, and I feel like we should start a drinking game. Every time I say Trump I should have a drink because I think I'm consumed. Anyway, Trump was like, so she has family members who listen to Trump and who are Trump supporters, and they're constantly sending her messages in the group chat of all this ridiculous misinformation that he spreads. And she says that when she sends them back accurate information and like facts and pulls our resources for them, they say to her, you are saying interchangeable facts. I don't understand what
interchangeable. Who said it?
No. So the Trump supporting part of the family tells her that these are interchangeable facts. I don't understand what that means.
Just like rephrased in different words?
Yeah, but it's not the same words usually. It was her point.
Well, it's not the worst case because they acknowledge that it's very close. So we are basically on the same page.
The thing is, they're not saying the same thing. That's why she's saying the correct information.
It's a step in the right direction.
Anyway, she's frustrated with her family members. Okay, it kind of leads me to our topic today.
Is it a topic?
What is it? It's not a topic?
I don't know. It's a format. It's a new format.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about our opinions that we think would be a little bit controversial or very controversial.
The most controversial.
Well, I'm going to start with not so controversial. Then I'm going to go to what I think is the most controversial. then I'm going to go to what I think is lacking the least empathy.
But you still fully, wholeheartedly believe in it.
Yes.
Okay.
What is going to be your like? Are you going to go in grades, or are you just going to go?
I just realized a lot of it
immediately?
is related to babies for some reason. So
Oh no, one of mine is.
yes, yeah, many of them are related to babies.
Well,
Well,
you're
we'll
just
have to
like
share, I guess.
you're like a baby hater or something.
Yeah, maybe I've been thinking about babies a lot.
Ew.
Not in that way.
What way?
Actually, in a
In
worse
any way.
in a worse.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
Also, in any way, ew. What do you think about babies?
they're cute.
Ew. They are though. I've seen a lot of like Twitter videos recently, and I think I don't have a uterus, but I guess if I had one, I'd say, oh, nature is telling me. They are very adorable little children, and when they do their things, they know how to pull on like strings.
That's how
they're very
the devil
manipulative.
works.
Yeah, they're very manipulative. That's
Isn't there like a
my
saying
conclusion.
that the devil?
Comes in a baby.
No, it's like the devil like appears in a fashion that is attractive. I'm paraphrasing. No.
Yes, but not in children.
Ah,
Teenagers, those are the devils.
but they're also ugly. So
Teenagers?
yeah,
Teenagers?
yes.
What are you talking about?
I mean, compared to babies, teenagers are ugly.
well, they're less better looking, sure. But what is
Well,
ugly?
sure. So
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm happy that you think teenagers are ugly. It means that there's no problem in that direction. Thank you, God. But anyway, I don't agree.
okay, do you want to start?
I think I'm going to start because my opinion is quite mild. My first one is quite
Okay.
mild. And of course, it's relating to...
Babies,
No.
politics,
Yes. And...
Trump.
Kinda. Okay, I'm going to go. So it's something that I've kind of changed my mind on recently. I believe in it, but I don't follow it. I'll explain. Recently, I was talking to someone I really enjoy talking to. What's happening?
I'm reducing noise.
Okay, great. Thank
Taking
you.
care of our editor.
Okay. I was talking to someone who I really enjoy talking to. And,
Me.
well, I like other people as well.
So you like me
I'm-
as well.
I am inclined to enjoy company with you. That's how I'd say
Thank
it.
you. Controversial opinion number one.
Actually, it should be controversial because, there are people that think you're an asshole.
No way.
I've told you of some of them.
I forgot.
Okay.
Because that's how friendly we are now.
No. Okay. But anyway, so I was talking to someone recently and we discussed like this phenomenon of people cutting off their friends and family because of political differences.
Mm-hmm.
For in the US, for people who voted for Trump and, people saying to their family after Trump won, okay, you voted for the man, we're done. When we spoke about it, I was kind of like on the fence and I thought I could understand where they were coming from, but I didn't necessarily think it was right,
Okay.
Even if, sorry?
Okay, yeah. Proactive listening. Right.
Okay. But after some thought, I've decided that a lot of people vote based on values.
Mm-hmm.
And if we consider values to be a driving factor in your life, something that helps you make decisions. So family and friends, we're talking about like disowning family and friends because of political interests. I am someone who values family. So I wouldn't leave my family based on their political decisions because the family values is very up there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're someone who values something else and that thing is up for discussion and debate in politics and the people that you are close to don't align in value-wise to that thing, I think it's okay to cut them off from your life rather than continue to be with them because of some social norm of maintaining family and having different opinions and getting along with each other. I was thinking about it more and I thought, I feel I'm comfortable with, if I wasn't so attached to my family, I think that it is fine to say, you know what, we don't have the same values. And if I'm a value-driven person, engaging with you...
All of us are. It's
Well,
just
yes,
some
yes,
values
just some values trump other.
values.
Yes,
Mhm.
since I'm a value-driven person, engaging with you, knowing that you greatly oppose, it's not just that you have different values, but you have values that are antagonistic to my value, especially if it's a core value, then it's fine to disown these people and not communicate with friends and family because of political differences. I also think it's fine to antagonize them and consider them bad, like pass judgment on them as bad based on their political difference.
So we should make a prediction
Okay.
on how much overlap we will have. I think we will agree on everything, honestly.
All right.
Or 5 out of 6.
Okay.
5 out of 6.
This first one.
I mean, I agree generally. I would even go further. Okay, first of all, I don't believe in, what's the word? Oh my God. Unconditioned love.
Unconditional love.
Unconditional. I think all of it is conditional. It's just some of the conditions are very, very, they're implied and we are not conscious about them. But I think there is usually a line. For most people, there is a line that will never be crossed when a person says, okay, I will love you no matter what. Yeah, but what if they like really rape a lot of babies?
I'll bring this up later. With regards to love, with regards to love, I do have like a
so
question.
I think there is like people just can't imagine like really bad stuff happening, and if that stuff happens, the line will be crossed, and like a moral thing to do for most people will be to actually stop
Disengage.
communicating.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not stop, but
No, stop communicating.
Either stop or just be really against it, or like publicly against
But
it.
is it possible to publicly like voice your disapproval with someone's behavior or character, yet feel comfortable to entertain them in like space?
Well, not entertain.
Like
You just
like
can communicate, but you can oppose
entertain.
them
I mean by keep space for them.
Yeah. I think this is like the completely cutting them off. This is like the last stage. You can just publicly oppose and say, hey, I'm like, I think a lot of people, like famous people, they say like, oh, I don't agree with my father on this. If both of you are...
No, but okay, there is a big... Have you heard of Harvey Weinstein?
Yes.
Okay, right. He was responsible for a lot of rape and sexual assault. And well, he's liable. He's found liable. I don't know if he has been found guilty, and I don't want to like make
No
a
one
claim.
will sue us.
We don't know. Like we're
Let
easy
them
targets.
come,
We don't
let them
have
come.
money.
Sure, but let them come to Ukraine and try doing that here.
Well, yes. Well, if they'll get us like a plane and stuff, I'll come to court. If they'll get me transport and pay for my visas and
then what?
And get me to a US to appear in court, I'll come to court. I'll happily be sued by you, rapist Harvey Weinstein. No, anyway, but so he's been found liable for sexual assault, right? And there was his wife. He was married to his wife when all these allegations started coming out. And he had all these friends and stuff, and people were expecting them to talk about his behavior, to condemn his behavior. People did not, society didn't accept, like, I can be friends with this person and still think that his behavior was appalling. But I don't want to leave him as a friend. I don't want to lose the friendship because I still care about this person.
But what
That's
is
I'm talking
the
about.
friendship based on? That's, I guess, what the question is here, right? I guess most of friendships, they are born from shared experience, and they usually happens earlier in the life.
Right.
So, and it's like,
So if
our friendships are they value based? I think mostly they're not. They're mostly like experience based.
No, but generally people who grow up in similar conditions or who go through something in these similar conditions, they end up having very similar values.
More similar, no, but not
Than
that
strangers.
similar.
I think that, well, I don't think that friendships are value based, but I'm saying like, when you become aware of values, it's possible to not want to be friends with someone because
It's possible, yeah. But I would like maybe the component of value in friendship is just, we shouldn't exaggerate it. Especially like these friendships, they come from school, they come from the army, for instance.
So from school, I think that that's the reason why that is not value based is because there is just not enough information yet to be able to form values.
Right, but you will
strict.
still be friends. We would say that,
then
okay,
that's
my
friendship
best friend
based on
is
it.
usually
But we're
from
talking
school.
about adults, right? And you can be friends with someone from school based on experience. And then you grow up to be adults, and let's say you are a trans woman and you were friends with this guy in school and you were close friends. Now you want to do your transition, you want to come out to your friend, and they don't accept you. This friendship doesn't work anymore.
Most likely.
Yeah, so that's
Or
what I mean.
maybe you can find a way.
To be around a transphobic person.
I'm sure there
constantly?
are people like that.
there are people like that, but is it worth it? That's why I say I'm like very supportive now, maybe, of people who are saying like, okay, I'm cutting you off because I'm like a lesbian and you voted for someone that I think is homophobic.
I think it's justified. It can be easily justified.
Yeah. Before I thought that people were before what my thought was because of my own values, I concluded before that people were, I don't know, exaggerating this like part of their relationship with people and should have been able to overlook it for the greater, like sacrifice something for the strength of the relationship. And now I know that I do that sacrifice, but I don't think that, but I think it's very justified for people not to make that sacrifice.
Okay. My turn, right? Honestly, all of them are bad. There is no progression. But I'm going to start with the shortest one.
Okay.
So I think using sperm donor is better, and raising kids from a sperm donor is better than having your own kids.
I don't think it is controversial. Well, it is because you're talking about eugenics.
I mean, it's not eugenics.
You're choosing when you're using a sperm donor. You're choosing, aren't you?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
I will choose. I will go. I'm potentially.
You will. Is this something you want to tell me about your insights?
Insights?
Yeah. Can you carry a baby? What are you doing? What's happening?
No. Okay. Both for a man and a woman. I think because you just have more options.
A man choosing a sperm donor to be the...
Oh, I was talking about myself. So originally...
Oh, rather than you having biological... Well, you don't think that you have good... Well...
You see the level of self-awareness?
I stopped myself. Yes. It's good that you are that self-aware. No.
Although that self-awareness might be also genetic, so...
Well, maybe you just have a self-esteem issue.
Right. So I just think... Wouldn't you want to have the healthiest child ever? And if your ego is not over the roof, definitely like out of several thousand, I don't know how many donors in the sperm bank, probably tens of thousands. Out of tens of thousands of people, probably there will be a better quality sperm there. So why? Isn't it immoral for you to make your child worse on purpose because of your ego, because you want this to be your sperm?
Okay, do you think that eugenics is morally justifiable? That's the first question I have, and I have more questions.
Eugenics is morally justifiable.
Do you think
it depends on the idea itself. It is fine. Depends on the tools and how it is conducted.
What part was fine about the idea? Choosing the best, trying to play God, as they say?
Play God, I don't say it, but choosing, reducing diseases and increasing the quality of life for your child.
And what stops
using through filtering, sorting DNA?
Okay, and what can make it not justifiable?
Well, it depends how far you go.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, it could be at some point could become unhealthy if you just over optimize for something. For instance, if you just want to create the best athlete and just the quickest person on the world.
No, but why are you differentiating creating a healthy child, and why do you think that people will stop at just, I don't want my child to have some diseases? What stops a person from going, I want to get a sperm from someone with it's a smart person. I want to get very athletic sperm, or very, I don't know, whatever.
There is no strict line here, and nothing like legally.
Isn't that the
I'm
problem?
not talking about legal. I'm talking for myself as a personal choice. And here, I think there is a difference. There are like things that basically everyone would want to have, like better memory. I think more or less everyone would want that.
Do you think
no one wants diseases?
That most people consider the race of their offspring?
I think most people don't consider it because it's not a question, because they live in a monoracial societies.
But so if you're looking at a society that is becoming kind of gradually mixed race, right?
Well, then
people interacting,
probably.
Then you have a problem of people wanting to dictate the race of their children, and you have.
Well, you're talking about social problems that could arise from
but
policies.
Because if you begin,
I'm talking about just like
I understand
personal choice of an individual.
I'm like criticizing I'm just saying that you're thinking of eugenics, and you cannot just think of just yourself. Because if you're thinking of the personal choices of an individual, everybody will make their own personal choice, and how far they will go will affect the society eventually.
I agree.
Okay.
But the race thing is it's already a thing now.
Well,
No
because
one
people just marry each
stops you.
other.
No, even like with sperm banks. Like, haven't you heard
Yeah,
stories?
I know people
of,
do it, but we're just
like,
talking about
white
why
women
you
just
say
taking-
but socially, if people actually talk about it and they say, oh, I'm taking this man also because he is white, it will be socially frowned upon.
Okay.
Yes. So it is something that is frowned upon still. I'm just finding holes in your...
Well, I don't see any holes here. Like, I mean, it could be the case. Many people do a lot of immoral stuff.
Okay.
Whatever is considered immoral by other people.
So you wouldn't judge someone who has decided to, rather than have biological children, go and look for and filter basically for what they would consider the best sperm and to have their own.
Depends on what they would want to optimize for.
Interesting.
If it's just like for intelligence, memory, and reducing diseases,
Even
that's
for
fine.
intelligence, memory, and reducing disease, are you not trying to beat nature to one up your offspring, which
Aren't
is not
we
even your
trying-
offspring? It's not
Am
even
I-
your offspring.
I just
Why don't
took-
you adopt a smart child? What's the difference?
Because I think adoption is just more complicated.
It probably is.
So, but regarding beating the nature,
Mhm.
us taking any drugs is trying to beat the nature.
No, it's trying. Taking any drugs is not trying to beat nature. It's
What is
trying
it?
to
Well,
compete
I don't
with nature.
produce some kind of hormone. I take a drug, and here you go.
What are you
I'm
talking
alive.
about?
I'm talking about diseases. No, I mean,
Okay,
whatever you
diseases.
lack, your
Mhm.
body lacks something
Mhm.
naturally.
Got it.
So you take a pill.
Yeah, but this is not
This is
something
you cheating
that you
nature in
lack
some
already.
way.
You are trying to, from the get-go, create. That's what I mean by
I don't
cheating
see
nature.
that. I don't see any
You are
difference.
not from having a sickness and taking a cure.
I mean, obviously there
than,
is a
like
difference.
creating someone without a sickness. You don't see the difference from curing and for like preventing.
There is a difference, but I didn't see why this difference is important and relevant.
No, it is relevant because, like, if you say I don't totally disagree with you. I'm just asking questions. But if you want to talk about intelligence, so you are trying to create you're specifically trying to create an intelligent child. This is a little bit of cheating because kind of birth, yes, genetics matter, but there is a luck to it. There's a luck to the two people meeting and the two people procreating together to lead to this thing. So you are trying to bypass luck, which is natural to me, in my opinion. I don't think a lot of people agree with me, but you're trying to bypass luck to make your own thing. That is the cheating there.
But like everything we do is trying to bypass luck. We're
We're trying to
minimize
mitigate
risks.
the consequences of luck. Most of the time, it's not to bypass luck,
How
but
is
you
it
are
different?
trying to bypass.
Okay, there
it
will be
in
a
total.
chance that first of all, I will have some kind of correlations. It's not going to be 100%. So here you go, luck. I'm not bypassing it. It's not that I can literally design how the baby will look like.
I mean, at some
there will be a lot
point,
of variation.
at some point, you could be able to design what the baby
And
will
then,
look like. And considering your current opinion, you would design what the baby would look like if you could. Wouldn't you?
I would randomize it a little bit. I mean, it's, I don't want to, it's too difficult.
What
detail.
stops a person going, okay, I want to make a child that will be smart, will be athletic, will never be bullied. I want to make sure that my child has the best possible life. So I'm going to remove everything that could be negative and make some sort of, if we have the technology for it in the future, and make some sort of super child. Would you be comfortable with that? Doing that?
I think
as
a lot
your
of this
person?
stuff will not be possible to do even with advanced technology.
Not yet.
Because a lot of it, no, it's just like a lot of it is culture based, like not being bullied. It's not really about.
No, but
it
the
is to some
culture is not
extent genetics,
changing that much. But so the person can use whatever the cultural norm is to try to prevent the
but
child
cultural
from.
norm changes.
Yes, and the person will be existing in whatever that norm is, and will try to factor it into.
I don't think we'll ever be at the point where it will be possible to predict it.
No, I'm not saying that we will be, but no. What do you mean? It's no. I mean,
Like
the cultural norm doesn't change that quickly.
But
At least for
so
20 or 30
complicated.
years of my life, people who were not 30, okay, for at least 20 years of my life, people who were bullied looked the same way.
Really? So
Yes.
can you look at the baby and say, okay, this child will be bullied?
Not like a little bit because they don't look like anything, but yeah, from like 1 year old, You could notice if a child.
Well, maybe you have a gift. I don't think that's how it works.
I think that you were bullied. That's why you don't notice.
I wasn't bullied. No one paid attention to me.
Well, that's sad.
But
I wanted to ask a different question. I don't want to forget it because it's running away from my mind as we speak.
Go.
It's concerning your eugenics opinion. Kidding. Oh yeah, you mentioned about children. About why wouldn't you do that? What do you think is the reason people have children?
I think, well, first of all, because everyone has children.
Okay,
I think it's a social norm.
Okay.
Secondly, I do think there is some, I would say, genetic pre-inclination to take care.
Okay.
Especially for women. For
nurture?
women more than
for women
men.
more than men.
But
Okay.
for both, I would say. Genders, all genders.
Oh my God. Yes, we get it. You're
Very
woke.
inclusive.
Jesus.
Right.
You don't
think
think
that
that
those
there
are
is
two main
any
reasons.
genetic inclination to
have your
transfer
own?
DNA? You don't think
your
so?
specific DNA, no.
You really don't think that there's a genetic inclination
I think
to
this is
transfer
a
DNA?
social.
Even when it comes to the idea of survival and survivalship, you don't think that there is an inclination to do that in order to survive somehow?
There is an inclination, but the inclination is it's implemented by proxy through jealousy. You don't want your partner to mate with anyone else.
No, but what?
But we
What?
why? Okay, why do humans? Why are they jealous? Because
But we're talking about no. I think that I can agree with jealousy, but I'm not. But it's jealousy based on the need to survive more than the other person.
jealousy evolved in order to make sure that you're raising your babies for men, and for women that your partner doesn't go away and
I disagree.
gives away
I disagree
resources to
with that
another
one.
woman.
No, and also I think that the inclination to pass down genes would go a higher place than the inclination to nurture. For me, that's why I think that your thing works for you, because you don't really care about like this passing down genes. But I think most people, and it might be because of a social norm, maybe it's not genetic, but most people have children not just because they want to nurture, or what was the first thing you said? Because of a social norm, right? That social norm includes that human beings must pass on some part of them to another person. That's what people have children for. It's not just to nurture, but to see themselves in another person. That's why people are very strict about the way they raise the children, about what children they have, about having boys or girls or whatever. It's not just to nurture, but some jealousy of not having your mate run away, but because of wanting to see a part of them in another child. That's why I think most people don't do what you are supposing. And what you're supposing is usually a resort that, unfortunately, so far in our society, mostly women who have kind of passed or have run out of their opportunity to find like suitable partners go to.
So I think what you mentioned, I think that is one of the factors, but I think it's like a tertiary factor, tertiary. So I think it's very, very abstract. And this is not, so we evolved from other non-human primates, right? And they don't have those abstract ideas. So that kind of biological need, that kind of inclination, it wouldn't be just exist there because they are not capable of that level of abstract thinking.
I think that. So I think that you're thinking of it too. Like
you think like a bonobo looks at their child and like, oh, I see them in their eyes. I see myself.
No, but you know that they will take care of their child, not another person, not another animal's child.
They will take care of whoever they think are their kids.
Whoever they know.
How can they know? Can they sniff them?
Kid. Yes. They do sniff them.
They sniff them, but they
don't go to other, like lions don't go to other prides and take care of other cubs.
But they memorize.
They memorize their
first.
child.
But if you give them another child from the very beginning, will they recognize
because they have. It's not that they will not recognize that is not their child. They will nurture it because they have an inclination to nurture a younger one. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but also you're thinking of like what I'm saying only on the social norm level. But I do believe that I believe that it is connected to survival, not just like what I should do.
So let's say you have a lion.
I don't have lions, by the way. I'm not
pregnant,
protecting
then
animals.
Of course, you medicate them. C-section, and then you substitute. They have, let's say,
I don't know.
3 cubs.
I know what you're about to ask me, but I don't know.
One of them
because
is
I've
not
never
theirs.
seen that happen. But I think that, of course, it's hard for them to tell. But the fact that this thing came out of them is, I don't know yet with animals, but the thing is about people, it's not just about taking care of something. And with a person as well, if you take like a black couple and they take their child and exchange it with another child, they probably won't know that it's not their baby. But the thing is that they do have an understanding, and I'm not talking about animals, I'm talking about people. Maybe it's an abstract thing that comes to people only. They have an understanding that that child came from them. But and even if I think that part of the reason they want to procreate is not because of nurture only, it's because they want to pass down a part of them to another person. And I think that we can actually just, even if it's just like a basic thinking, maybe it's not a genetic thing, maybe it doesn't go that deep. If you ask people, why do you want to have a child? More than 90% of them will respond that way. That's why I'm just saying for you to say like, so I'm not disagreeing with your opinion because it's a personal thing. Of course, you can have children how you want. As I'm saying, like a lot of people wouldn't do that, not because for them, they're having children because they want to pass on something.
Okay, but I disagree that it's genetic. I think
I don't know. Cultural. I think that there is a genetic thing there as well. And I think that there's a social thing, a cultural thing, but I don't know yet what has more impact.
Well, you don't think that like primates have the same thing?
I don't know.
I think
that's the thing. I just don't know.
Because otherwise, if that was the main reason for reproduction, that if that was the way how evolution
I didn't say it was the main reason. I just
make species reproduce, then no species would be able to reproduce because they don't have that level of abstract thinking.
I don't know. I'm not saying that it is the main reason. I'm just saying that if most people rationalize it that way, and that's it. Okay.
I had a quick side question. So we were discussing about, you mentioned race, and I heard about some cases where a lesbian couple would take a black sperm donor. Mm-hmm. What do you think about it? A white lesbian couple.
What do you mean, what do I think about it? Did they choose a black sperm?
Chose...
I do think it's a problem if you're choosing based on race, yes. I think it's a problem.
Okay.
I think you can choose on any other thing, but there are like, immutable factors.
Okay, if it's random.
And I'm saying...
If it's random, should you actually choose for a white donor, or can it be random? Because the perspective could be here that you might want to actually choose the donor of the same skin color.
I understand that. Yeah, most people marry people of their skin color as well.
Yeah, there is definitely a bias there.
So, and that's what I was going to say next. I think it is it's problematic to choose based on race. Nevertheless, I think most people do it. There is like a bias that you have.
For sure.
I don't necessarily think that I will raise a white child. I'm not sure that I would do it well. I don't know what the chances are that I'll ever, if I adopt a white child. I don't also feel comfortable with white people raising...
He's a sperm donor.
And if I'm being honest, maybe this is a controversial opinion, right?
What?
Also, I don't feel comfortable with white people raising black children. I think that a lot of them... Okay, maybe this is actually a
controversial opinion.
That I didn't think about.
I got you into it.
I think that a lot of them are sanctimonious, first of all, self-righteous. And I think that they take pride in their ability to rescue. Mm-hmm. I think that that's how they see it. They see it. And maybe they're bringing these people out of hard situations. But I think that at least the people I've observed online who do this, there's this like savior complex that they have, which bothers me. Because I feel like the child will grow up feeling indebted to them. Mm. And it's mostly done with white people raising black children from Africa and stuff, or Asian children. So that's a problem. There's a lot of stuff that comes with like physical stuff that also I worry about. Healthcare in general has a bias like against like people of color in many places.
You mean that drugs are not tested?
No. Just like understanding how things represent on people of color is a big problem in the healthcare industry. And I think that when normal people who don't have expertise will have black children, there's a common phrase, oh, it's normal for them. In this current hearing of RFK, there's something that came up, which is a belief that not few people have, that black children have a stronger immune system than white children, regardless of where they are. And this is a problem because it excuses not doing some things during healthcare for Black children. And maybe a small reason that I have a problem with this is hair care. It's atrocious with the white people.
You can learn it, I think.
They don't learn it well. But I don't know if this is a controversial opinion, but I'm fine with mixed race couple. I don't necessarily like to see a white family raising a Black child. Not like, I'm suspicious of it. That's what I should say. Not I don't like. I'm suspicious of it. Because I really worry also that the child will not be exposed to other Black people. Anyway, but that's not my controversial opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my second controversial opinion might be really, really controversial.
Okay.
I am
agree.
fine with abortion even at the last month of the pregnancy.
Very close to mine.
I think that childcare, and I'm fine with it for number one, a person finds out later that the child will be born with a condition that they cannot manage. I think it's fine to do it. I think it's fine if a pregnant woman learns maybe closer to the delivery time that she will be raising the child alone, or maybe there will be no partner, something happens in the family, there's a disruption of like some sort of normalcy. If it's a financial issue as well, I'm fine with it.
What if they just change their mind?
Honestly?
So why were you mentioning everything?
No, because I wanted to go further. And then the thing, honestly, I started with the disease and I went to finances because it's like, less. And honestly, just changing their mind, same. And honestly, my reason is just because it's so difficult to raise a child. I think that it is such, the only thing I'd say is like, after carrying it for 9 months, I feel like just push it out.
What a waste.
But yeah, but like your life was changed for 9 months. If you can get someone to adopt the child, of course, but even delivery is such an ordeal. And sometimes people die. With medicine, less.
From
much
a medical
less
standpoint, like having an abortion, like after 8 months, like when you're already close to delivery.
It is not done.
Is it? Okay, but from medical
except it's necessary. It has happened. It can happen.
No, but from medical standpoint, what would be safer to actually deliver the child or to make an abortion?
No, a lot of times it's safer to make an abortion because the mother's life is at risk.
No, but under normal
that's when it happens. Under normal circumstances, I don't know, it isn't discussed. The child would be, because you could like kill the child and bring the child up.
Oh yeah, I guess it's easier.
Yeah,
it's easier
than to try to do it. Than a live one.
Makes sense.
It is easier. But no, so it is a lot of work to raise a child. It requires a lot of money and a lot of dedication. It requires a sacrifice. And I think that it is okay. I'm not making laws about this, thankfully, because I don't think a lot of people would agree with me. But I think that I'm comfortable with someone telling me, I wouldn't judge them as doing a bad thing. Of course, the big conversation is like, oh, it's a human life. Sure. But so it kind of, no, I mean, like if we think of like a child or a baby being able to survive, we think a lot of respiratory system, right? And yes, it can survive breathing and stuff at that time. But nevertheless, it is not going to be able to live without a caretaker continuously. And if that caretaker is not ready to do this and even ready to push or cut open or whatever, I'm good with it.
But I think a moderate even policy in this case could be that if the child is viable under current existing technology, then I think it would be okay to kind of say that, hey, okay, give whatever you've done it so far. Now we are gonna
I'd accept it.
Have a C-section, and then we'll try.
Having a C-section is still invasive surgery, and whenever you go under anesthesia, it is safer now, but there's always a risk of something happening to you.
But I would really then look at.
Well, anyway, the abortion would most likely be also under anesthesia at that point.
Sure, so. But like then the difference, and if the difference,
I wouldn't say get it done. I'd go like maybe there's another way. But my point is that if people do it, I would be fine with it.
So I was actually one of my opinions is even worse.
Really?
It's the same direction, but further.
What, after delivery?
So, well, I don't know how to phrase it, but basically I think
The thing
babies
that Trump
are
said.
overrated as humans.
We need them though.
We do need them in order
That's what's gonna happen in the
raise
future.
humans.
Yes.
But when we think about humans, what makes us different?
I think I know where you're going towards, but continue.
So what makes us different? Babies don't have those things. When you think what distinguishes us from animals, babies don't have that thing.
Babies
For me,
are
that
animals,
thing,
basically,
it's
is what
not
you're saying.
just DNA.
The
It's
level of
consciousness, self-awareness.
Yeah.
Babies don't have that thing.
So what is your point here?
My point is that I'm not saying you should kill babies, because there is no reason to kill babies, and many people want to adopt babies right now. So, but back then, like a couple of 100 years ago, when no one could take care of the baby, there was no government to do that. I think it's totally reasonable to kill a newborn if you don't need it.
I don't agree.
I mean,
I just want to say that first. However, to add to your point about I don't agree that they should kill.
you should not. But, okay, I think
Just
the family should have the right to do that.
I think
Back then, because no one was going to support
but
it.
I think that if it is difficult to support this newborn, I think, and honestly,
Or
I'm
if
thinking
it has a
about
disease,
disease. I'm thinking
congenital
about
disease.
disease. Yes, I could be near your opinion. However, I think if it's a healthy baby, it's going to be necessary for the future. We do need people. I like at some point you want somebody to be paying the pension. I think financially it's just important for countries. So
But it's up for parents to decide
Yes,
whether it's
but-
a good investment.
yeah, so maybe the country can have good childcare. Like they can take away the child and put him in a system that is good, because a lot of countries don't have good systems. I just think financially for the country, it's not smart to kill healthy babies. That's what I
That's
think.
why it should be parents who
Economically.
kill them, not countries.
Well, so you're saying the parents could, and the country should.
I think
and
they should
shouldn't
have
be-
a moral right to do that.
Okay, and they shouldn't be legally
Yes.
attacked or whatever.
Okay, yes, back then. Now, because we built like governments that take care of this stuff, they take responsibility. So now I think it's okay to
Hand it over to the government.
Yeah, I think it should be illegal because you can just give it away to the
Yes,
government.
that's
and
the
then-
point. That's my point. Yes, but also about your point, you're talking about babies being not having what we have as older humans. However, do we classify babies as humans?
As a
Now
species,
we have,
yes, sure.
yes, and now we have something called human rights, and this would be a huge violation of human rights to kill a baby.
Well, that's why we should rename it, not from human rights to
Children.
personhood rights.
All right, of course. There'll always be. Then you have like religious groups who give babies personhood at the point
And
of
they're wrong.
birth. Well, according to
If
you.
they eat, especially if they eat meat. I mean, I'm sorry, but a baby is so much less
think,
of
like,
a human than
This
a
is
pig
not.
that you eat.
I don't want to align myself with this.
Okay, I think I'm gonna reduce it to 4 out of 6.
I'm going to make a statement. I know this person, but I do not align myself with their views. I
Are you
want
gonna
to aggressively disown and aggressively distance myself from this view.
Right.
No kidding. But one thing I do want to add to the overratedness of babies, and this was going to be controversial, I guess, but it's not my third controversial opinion. When there is a disaster, people talk a lot about
Eating babies?
No, people talk a lot about how they're killing the
Oh,
children. And they're
Children
killing
and women. What
women
about
and children.
men?
That's just not my point. Shut up. No, but it's
That's
like,
my point.
oh, they're killing the children. I get it only in the sense that we need children to live, to contribute to our society. Otherwise, I don't understand why people feel worse about children dying
Especially
than
back like
adults.
a couple of centuries ago when childhood mortality was so
very
high.
Yes.
Why do you need that baby who's gonna die
Hey,
like 50% of
Rein
the
it
time?
in.
Well,
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying when there's a tragedy, why do people mourn children more than adults? I don't get it. When there is like this happening in Gaza, I think like if you think
Yeah.
it's bad, then say it's bad for everybody. Like, oh, people are dying. Why do you go, and the children?
and
I'm
it's like at every level. It's done even by politicians.
Yes,
It's like
everybody does
we
it.
exchanged women and children first.
And I'm like, well, maybe just think of people. What is happening? I don't know. I feel like that's a controversial opinion as well. Like,
maybe.
Because I think a lot of people just, like, I know people who talk about Gaza and I sympathize with them, but a lot of times they keep sending me this list of children, and I think, don't separate it. Just send me the list of amount of children have died. I'm like, don't separate it. If I can't muster sympathy for people dying, I wouldn't muster sympathy for just children. I guess more people have more sympathy for children dying than people. I just feel like I have sympathy for people dying. You don't need to separate it into boxes for me. It's the same thing.
I do separate kids in a separate box.
Stop it.
I was actually gonna...
Enough of your...
No, I was gonna push it a bit further.
Pharaoh-esque
but it's just in some way, eating pork is worse
I do
than killing
agree
babies.
with you no, not that. I agree with you that people who... I think like you shouldn't eat animals if you're religious and you have a problem with... and you give children personhood. That I agree, because they've not developed any kind of personhood. They've not developed the level of consciousness that required to be a person. So I think that there is a hypocrisy there. But this your thing about killing babies.
I mean,
I want to really
but because
distance my abortion stance.
We kill my argument is actually it's a vegan argument. I started in order to make a point that we should stop killing animals.
Shut up. But on the killing topic, my final
underkilling
of
babies. I know. I agree.
Topic. My final controversial opinion is I'm not a supporter of capital punishment, death sentence, in many cases because we're not sure about the guilty. Like, we're not very sure all the time about if a person is guilty or not. However, the thing that the reason I'm comfortable with capital punishment is financial. I don't know why, but it's a weird thing that it just, for me, is the strongest argument for capital punishment. I don't think any other thing like, oh, you killed another human, I don't think that that's enough reason to kill someone. But financially, it is expensive to imprison people. And for crimes that we in a society consider so heinous, like rape of a child, if we consider it so bad, then I think it is morally justifiable to say then we don't want to spend money taking care of this person, and this is why we're going to sentence them to death. That's it. Not to avenge somebody, or not some kind of like you put a stick in my eye, I put a stick in yours as well, but just because it's fine for me to say we don't want to spend money as a society taking care of this person who did something that we consider so bad. So
I've never thought about it, but I think I will agree that it does sound like the most justified reason
for me, at least.
For me,
I don't know,
but I don't think it still justifies it, because at our time, because I could imagine like several centuries ago, again, when we had so many criminals, we didn't have that much money, our societies were not that developed. I think we just didn't have that much resources in it. Right now, the crime rates have reduced significantly, so perhaps we can afford it. And the pro of not killing anyone is that it's kind of slippery. No. What? I condone labor, prison labor.
It's not free, but it can be cheaper. Because what's the point of rehabilitation if we don't actually try to get them? Honestly, that's my only thing. Like, if we have criminals, why don't we put them into work programs? I don't understand. Yeah, but they pay them too little. I just think I can pay them a little bit more.
Oh, you see, we are saving money. Yeah, so maybe it's actually financially profitable.
Private prisons are profitable because they receive all that money from government. But I think that this money can be used in a society in a different way.
But it's good to kind of be far from killing anyone. That's why I also don't want babies to be killed, because even though they don't have personhood, where do you draw the line between killing a baby and killing already
and I'm not saying
toddler?
That I want them to be killed. The opinion that the controversial thing here is that I find it to be the strongest argument for death sentence. But it's not that I want it. That's it.
Okay.
What's your last one? The
last one. Maybe, I don't know if it's the most controversial, but I think we are
about babies again?
No.
Oh, Jesus.
Finally. We experiment on humans.
I'm fine with that, actually.
Because...
Well, and not because I want us to experiment on humans, because people always complain about experimenting on animals. So I'm like, well, let's go ahead and get the humans in there, man. If you want us to stop, because what are we supposed to do? What exactly are we supposed to do?
So the reason why I started thinking about it is I was watching these interviews with prisoners of war. And it's just Russians, and it's just like stories of people just going to prison and then having a choice whether you go and like basically be cannon folder or stay in prison, and their life in prison is miserable, and this is not much better
Then experimenting on them?
no, like cannon folder is also not better, and then experimenting that could be done in a much more ethical way, and it can actually bring a lot of value to the society.
Maybe that's what we should do to the criminals instead of the death sentence.
Oh, here you go. Yes.
That is so unethical to say
we say it's unethical. But like okay, we will have protocols.
Yes. Oh my god.
No, we will give them insurance. We will give them.
Does it end the prison sentence?
It can contribute. It can be a mitigating factor. It can be a factor that will be considered for their early release. No, because they contribute to society.
I do think it's more controversial than you think, because you're basically saying that people should. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but my reason for disagreeing with it is that we just gotta experiment somehow.
But because
but not disagreeing with it. Sorry.
We need it. It's like we just waste so many people die for nothing. I mean, wars and stuff. But in prison, people just die. But they could
contribute to
society, and we could somehow reward them in some way. They could pay back. We talk about prisoners paying back to society. This is a real way how you could pay back. And it just doesn't make sense from scientific standpoint that we just don't use this resource. We don't know shit about ourselves. We could have been saving lives. We could have been developing drugs.
There have been experiments done on people.
Too little.
No, that were unethical.
Yes.
The level of disclosure was bad. There was a lot of trickery. This is not the only problem. One of the problems with it is that you might want to create an ethical way to experiment on people, but most companies will not follow the ethical standards. There will be a lot of things hidden and stuff, because as much people as I know, even prisoners, it's very hard to convince them to give themselves for experiments. So there'll have to be a lot of it's going to be unethical to force them. There'll have to be a giving of self. There has to be an option. It has to be laid out as an option.
I agree that it should be an option.
So as far as I know people, I think that a person would rather spend their life in prison than do some experiment on your body.
I think it depends on what kind of experiment. I'm not talking
you have to lay out everything.
No, yeah, sure. You should get a consent. You should tell them exactly what's going to happen. You should talk about risks. And of course, there should be animal models before you start experimenting on humans. The animals. No. I mean, it's just...
Also, not to be diminishing, but the literacy level of people in prison is low. For most people in prison is quite low. It is a form of trickery to give them detailed information about something they're not going to understand. To be able to say, we did give them detailed information.
It is a risk, but I think we can deal with it. I think, I wouldn't be comfortable giving those kind of rights to pharma companies as of now. I think to scientists, I think right now...
Scientists, it has to be not for the aim of making money, but rather than scientific exploration.
Yeah.
That's why it has to be scientific organizations who are bent on research, not a drug company, for example.
Yeah, not for profit. I think that right now, in terms of all these scientific experiments, they have these bioethics standards, they have boards, and I think that's a way to start. And I don't think it should be too bad. I think there are risks, but they're manageable, I think.
I would say that from this episode, you have a disregard for human rights.
Personhood rights.
It was more controversial than I expected,
really?
Honestly. No, I'm not. I don't hate it. I'm just I was surprised by your second opinion. Because I thought mine was as far as anybody would go. No. And then you decided to take it up a notch. I hope that we don't get hate from this.
Please leave us hateful comments because we need some activity on our post. Okay, what is the number? What is the overlap of agreement?
I think accept your baby nonsense and also the eugenics. Well, I didn't disagree with it like on a personal level. I just think that there's risks to the society if we allow everybody to make these personal decisions.
Okay.
I think you agreed with everything that I said.
Close-minded. Another one lives in the 22nd century.
Sure. Whatever makes you sleep at night.